Hello everybody, my name is Bill. This is 6 Round Studio. Today, this video, we're back working on the guitars. In this episode, what I'm going to do is cut the two veneer tops. We're going to use the wider space tiger stripe maple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off, cut the length of the blank down so that all I've got left is the plank that I'm going to get those veneers out of. So this is the piece we're going to use, and what I'm going to do next is I'm going to start slicing some thin veneers out of this. I said I wanted to make those about a 1/4 inch thick. I need to set up the bandsaw for this cut. I need to raise the guard. Now one of the problems, or one of the concerns, is when you start cutting this width, you end up with a lot of potential for this blade to want to twist or bend. So we're going to be doing this at a very, very slow rate of speed. Now that I have the two veneers sized, I need to find the book match so that when I put this together, that the two tiger stripes, they line up, and I want to have them line up in sort of a V, a shallow V. So I've actually been playing around with this, and I've got the place where I think I want them, where I think it's going to be the best match, and I've had to cut it a little bit, manipulate it, but these are the two locations that when this comes together, that I get that best look. I know the cameras are never going to pick this up. So now that I've done this, I've got to get this thing sized for length. So I'm going to trim this top off so I get this length correct, and then I'm going to measure my 16 inches, which is the length of the blank, so that when I get this thing ready to glue onto the top of the blank, that the size is correct. I'm going to overlay these over the blank itself. We'll do a test fit, and to make sure that we're going to fit within the dimensions of the master blank or the main blank of the guitar itself. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to overlay the Mylar blueprint right over the top of that, and we'll pick up that center. There is a center line on that Mylar, and I overlay that center line on the Mylar on the match between the two halves of the veneer. Then that gives me how much room I've got on the outside, and I've got plenty. Just like I planed the two ends on the main body so that when I brought the two together I'd get a perfect match or a perfect line, I need to do the same thing on these tops. I need to make these edges so that when they come together they're a perfect fit, so that when I glue them up and squeeze them up, you don't see that center line when I'm done. In order to get that done, I'm going to use something called a shooting board. The shooting board is nothing more than a 90-degree fixture that I made, and this plane is designed for the purpose of creating square edges. And I use the shooting board both for getting my veneers with a nice surface, because the plane rests right in there. I'm using the shooting board to simply pull away enough material to get those two edges so they're perfectly matched. Now again, the plane, it's 90 degrees, or it's perpendicular. Two surfaces are perpendicular. So I lay this down on the base of the shooting board, and then I just bring the plane across that edge. We've got the blade set so we're taking very little off. And I'm watching that edge along the base of the plane so that I'm looking and not seeing any kind of curves. Now the ruler is not the best indicator. The best indicator is going to be the two edges together. But I've only done the one, so now we're going to take this one out. And we're going to put this one in. We'll take the two halves, and then we're going to put them together, and we'll be looking for that perfect fit. Now normally what I do is I look at these through the light, looking for gaps. And actually, looks really good. All right, I think I nailed it. What we'll do next is I'm going to glue these up. So I'm going to put pipe-on glue along these edges, put them in my clamps, and then clamp this thing together, and then we'll have to leave it dry overnight. We're going to throw glue on both edges, just like we did when we glued up the main blank. The open time on Type-On is reasonable for this kind of work. It begins to dry fairly quickly, especially when you start to get the glue or the moisture in the glue absorbed by the drier woods. Now we don't want to have a lot of lumps in the glue joint. We want to make sure it's fairly even and smooth, because we don't want the additional thicknesses in different places along the glue line to affect how it squeezes out. Get this lined up. I'm going to do the center first. I'm just going to bring that up slowly. got my lines here that help me keep my alignment. Use my smaller clamps. Keep those outer edges even. Okay, this looks good. Bring that up a little bit more. And then I want to put opposing pressure from the top, because just putting the clamps on the bottom, it wants to bow it up. Remember, we're talking veneer here. That's right now, this is about 280, 300 thousandths. So there's not a lot of surface area where the glue is to keep it nice and flat. So we're relying on the bars of the clamp and on the planed edge to try and keep this as perpendicular as we can. Down here and take a peek. This looks really flat, which is good. The edges look really good. We're not just going to rely on that edge joint to keep this veneer structurally sound. Remember, we're going to glue this entire veneer to the top of the main body blank. And then once that's done, the entire thing becomes a part of the entire engineering or the entire support structure for the guitar. Let's give this a few hours to dry, and then we'll come down and pull the clamps. And then at that point, we'll be ready to prep the veneer for glue up onto that main body blank. Alright, this joint really came out good, and we're going to end this video right here. When we come back next time on the guitar, we're going to cut up this vintage maple flooring, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to veneer this, and then we're going to glue the edge joints together on these, so that I got both of these tops prepped, so that we can add them to the main body blanks, stick both guitars in the vacuum press so that we can get this all glued up together. And at that point, we can really begin to move forward quickly on the build of these guitars. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. See you guys next video.